Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Maine Pageant Place. Today we have the honor of sitting down with Chuan Deible-Quarterson. Chuan, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's let our viewers know a little bit about the early life of Chuan. What did that kind of look like for you?
Oh, wow. Well, I was a pageant mom. I was one of those pageant moms. And I was someone who was still looking to find herself. But my only identity was a mother and a 9-to-5 job.
Absolutely. So what inspired you to make that transition yourself?
2 years ago, funny story, maybe 3. Like I said, I was a pageant mom and life had stopped. My daughter had retired and pageant life was behind me. And I was with a good friend of mine who I was helping at an event. And she kept saying, I'm doing this pageant coming up next month. And I was like, she said, it's Christine Kudos. You remember her, right? And I go, yeah, my daughter was one of her queens back in 2020 something. Okay, so then I was like, well, congratulations, go ahead, yay. She said, you should do it. Not me. First thing I said was, not me. Look at me. I'm not pageant material. I'm 50-something years old. No, it's not. My stomach, no, I'm just not me. Then Christine stopped by the booth and she was like, oh my God, hi, Chuan. And Darcy was like, I think she should do the pageant. Christine's like, oh, you should. I said, no. So I get home a week or 2 later, there's an email from Christine saying, well, thank you and welcome to Yankee Miss. I didn't sign myself up. She goes, you need to talk to your friend who did. Okay, I'll do it. Fine. Let's do it. I'll do it. Let's do it. I did it. I went in there with my David Bridal $99 dress.
Yes.
I smiled. I didn't have no routines. I was trying to remember my daughter's routine when she was 7 and 8 years old. Step pretty toes, And I went up there and I said, okay, let's do this. And I went across the stage. I gave him my best who I was. I figured I left it on the stage. That's me. That's my motto. Leave it all on the stage. And it was crowning time. And I was just kind of standing there. I'm not your typical queen. So I was the one that was kind of fidgety in the back because of the lights. And then I had to go to the bathroom. So I left the stage. That's no in Christine Kudos pageants, but I had to go because I'm at that age. And I came back and I was like clapping for everybody. And she called my name and I was like, what? I was in shock. I was completely in shock. But I was so humble and so excited. Like I didn't know where this was leading. So I took my title and sash and I promoted that like crazy. And I came back to do more of her pageants. Because when you're with Christine Kudos pageant system, you're with family. It's not a system. It's not a pageant. It's family. And from there, it grew. I grew more friendships. I grew more family. And I decided, let me see, is there anything out there for me, but for me in my type of pageantry and age. And I started to find some that had older divisions. And I started doing different pageants, and then I found myself literally traveling. And I found a knack. As they call it, a glitz queen. And I love the glitz of pageantry. And the rest is one crown at a time. And I don't care if I win or lose. I have a great time. I travel. I meet so many people. I've gotten so many opportunities. And if it wasn't for me saying, hi, Christine, this would never have been my life. So I'm thankful.
Amazing what one little introduction can do. And I feel like it speaks volumes when you have friends that can see you through different eyes and know the opportunity that you deserve. And I'm really proud of you for taking it and doing it so gracefully. And I think a good takeaway for women who are debating about doing this is like, you've got nothing to lose. So why not just put yourself out there?
Yes.
And I think something that radiates from you is that authentic self that I just see. So I think that's such a draw for people, and not only the judges, but for fellow delegates.
Yes.
So tell me, how do you lead authentically in a world that really prefers conformity?
When I'm on that stage, I'm a different person. I take a little bit of drag and I put it into pageantry. Depending on the system, there's glitz, there's semi-glitz, there's nice, calm, relaxed, scholarship-like people. Well, I take all of that and I give myself a character. You're gonna go out there. You're gonna give them the best of who you are. No matter what has happened today, no matter what will happen on that stage, you came, you perform. Be happy, be humble, be grateful. That's it. And that's what I do. There's been times when I've stumped and I was like, or I've turned and went blank on a routine and I turned back. The only person who knows the routine is me, not the judges. So I just smiled and I said, well, we're winging it from here. And I stay confident about winging it until I get to the end. And then I get off the stage and of course I'm my worst critic. I run straight to the back and say, oh, I screwed up. This is not right. I did bad. And everybody's like, you did so good. No, I didn't. Because I knew what I could do. I knew my potential, but they didn't. But I left it on the stage. So I give them the best of me because if I don't give you the best of me, I won't be able to represent that title the best way it should be represented if I come away as a winner. So I'd rather give you the best of me so you know who I am out there representing your system than someone who you might be like, oh, that's not what I saw on the stage. So I'd rather have them to have the realness of me than the phoniness of me.
Absolutely. I think that's a good call out because there's certainly an amount of work and rehearsal that needs to go into it. But then I feel as if sometimes we can be too rehearsed. And that's when people like yourself shine so bright, when you just are who you are and you run with the mistakes and you're not afraid to be a little silly in a situation where most people might find really structured. And I think I'm coming to see a really common thread with winners when they are not afraid to be a little awkward, and I think that just humanizes you on such an important level.
And that's what I like to. That's why I tell anybody from young to old, be yourself, have fun, do your best, leave it on the stage, and don't beat yourself up. Whatever you do, don't beat yourself up. You gave it to them. The rest is in a judge's hand. You never know what they're looking for.
Absolutely. Judges can surprise you just like you can surprise them, right? It goes both ways.
Yes. And I've been in both positions as a judge and as a contestant when I'm like, everybody's like, oh, I know this young lady's going to be the one that wins. And then I see her on the stage and I might have a different take about the girl who went before her, that I saw something different in that girl.
And that's the beauty of it. I've always heard this saying of like different judge, different day, different winner.
Yes.
And I think that's really important to remind ourselves. And
Right.
I'm not sure about you, but I know I've learned more lessons from actually pageants I've lost than the ones I've won. So it's really about how you put your perspective. And for me, and I think this is probably very much who you are too, is like there are two people on the field. There are the winners and there are the learners. And for me, that's all I see.
Yeah.
And so I think that is what probably helps you gauge and continue to win these monumental pageants, is because you're just pushing forward. So tell me a little bit more about your platform. Is there something that you kind of advocate for in your community?
So my platform kind of coincides with my life and a little bit of my business, but it's equality, inclusion, and diversity. That is because I don't see enough of me, women of color, putting themselves out there in pageantry, in anything other than what they think they're conformed to. I also represent women that's over 30 who has closed this chapter in their life and said, well, now I'm just going to be a mom, a soccer mom, and a housewife. And then when they get 50, well, I'm going to be the grandmother. You are your own author of your own story. So with that being said, stop writing the ending so fast. I am my own author. I'm letting you know that at age, which will be 53 next month, I'm not done. I think I've started a new life. I started a new chapter. So go out there, be seen, be heard. I want everybody to know that you're not alone. Yes, we're not perfect. We all put our shoes on the same ways. We all got the little, they say, fupas. We all have it. It's how you go out there and you portray yourself and put yourself out there. If you got that strong personality, if you got people who really admire you or listens to you, or you can gain someone's interest, then the rest of it is a walk. It's a runway for you. Use that as a platform. Show people who you are and not let them know that you're just off to the side waiting to, hit the nursing home. The nursing home and then one step to the cemetery. So no, you're an open book. You need to be your own author. Do not in your story just put new chapters.
What's one way that you think that we can help create more diversity within the pageant community?
Have people like me, have people like come from different styles. You have your middle class, you have people from the inner city, you got the people that's like, oh, well, they have all this money and they can do that. Pageantry's for everybody. You don't have to walk into a pageant with $1,000 gown. I walked in my first pageant in a $99 bridal, David bridal. Since then, have I stepped up some of my clothing line? Yes, but it doesn't mean anything. It's how you look in those clothes. So I want to see people from all different lifestyle come into the pageant world because it's different. I think 25, 30 years ago, it was a set form of what you're supposed to look like, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to talk, how your color of your hair and the color of your eyes. And now you see women who like Miss Wisconsin, who just won first Black woman for Wisconsin. There are so many of us out there who just sits there and go, that's not for me. Why is it not for you? Because society said so, or because you never saw someone other than Vanessa Williams, somebody get on the stage and you figure, well, that's not me. I'm not a size 2, or, my hair is not as long, or, I speak from another country. That is what America's about. That's the melting pot of pageantry. We come together, and that's why you have so many different types of pageants and pageantries in different countries and states, because it all comes back down to this sisterhood. It comes back down to family and what it represents. It represents a crown, a sash, your platform, and who you are as a person inside.
So, Sean, tell me a little bit more about what you do for work.
I just don't wear a crown on the weekends for pageants. I wear crowns on the weekends for birthday parties because I own Sugar and Spice Fairy Tales. I am one or two minority-owned businesses of a kids' entertainment, and I play maybe a certain princess of a frog from the Bayou. But yeah, no, that I kicked that company off during COVID, right? Let's start a princess company in the middle of COVID. But I had already been doing cosplay, and Princess Tiana was my favorite princess. And already at a late age in my life, she was somebody that I had fought to sign papers to say, hey, Disney, we need a Black princess. We need a Black princess. And then Tiana came. Of course, I'm in my 30s, but I'm all about Tiana. And then I got the opportunity to go to Disney to see family. And they said, well, you want to come to the Halloween experience? Sure. Do you want to dress up? I'm going to dress up as Tiana. So I made my dress by hand and I went to meet her. And I had looked very authentic as much as I'm allowed to on the park. And I met her, cried like a baby, grown woman, just crying. Oh, Tiana. And then my sister said, hey, you should go back and look for a princess company. I was like, what's that? She goes, just go back home and ask about princess companies. Well, someone did reach out to me. I showed up with my little princess dress and they gave me the job. And I have taken that character and I've grown with her. I've grown with her so much. And then once again, I didn't see enough of me represented any type of princesses in that industry besides just Princess Tiana. And I thought, this is another moment in my life. Let's have princesses of color. So that was the end goal, to start this company, have Cinderella, Belle, all these princesses of color. And then I realized we need diversity, inclusion, equality. Now I said, okay, what makes me different than any other princess company? Age, size, color, orientation. Now the number one in the state of Connecticut, because my princesses run from the ages of 17 to 53.
Amazing. So you really are leading by that example of breaking down the barriers and the stigma. I'm
breaking down every barrier you can say. I'm here. You cannot deny who we are. And I've given a lot of women a voice in my company who thought they would never put on a big old gown and a tiara and go and say, hello, I'm such and such princess.
So I love that. So to transition, I think even from the business that you run to now pageantry, you're really leading the way in that. And is it true that you're doing some coaching now, changing the industry from the inside? Is that right?
Yes. I got a great opportunity. I am with CTF Pageantry, and Diane was my coach that I got introduced to. And back in January, she gave me a phone call and she said, you've come a long way in 2 to 3 years. She's like, you have really, your resume speaks for itself. And I said, look, I do this for fun. I have a great time. Every win I get, I'm humble. I never expect to have them. I don't walk in there and say, I'm going to win this. I go in there having fun because I don't know. These are different. All these pageants are different. I never know what they want. You never know what the judge is looking for. But when I come away with bigger titles and big, huge titles, I always call her first. Boo-hoo. Oh my God, I won. And I'm so proud of you. She said, guess what? You need to become the glitz coach for CTO. That was a huge honor. And I was like, me? You sure? She was like, yeah. I said, what makes me different than anybody else that could be one of your coaches? And she said, because I go out there and I let them know, be who you want to be. My world revolves around so much. And drag is a big thing. Drag for me is a big thing. Drag and glitz, I combine the two. And that's who I am on the stage. And everybody knows that. Everybody is always prepared for the elaborate costumes and the attitude of the routines. But I know how to tone them down. I know how to bring them out. So every time I see a lady in my age category and she's standing there, she's just like, I don't know, I'm just gonna walk out there and just smile. I'm like, are you gonna walk out there and just smile? Or are you gonna walk out there and say, here I am, how about it? And then give that pop that face, pop that hip, give them those bed eyes, and then walk away, making them want more. And sometimes the women are like, oh my God, thank you for that little bit of tip. Usually I see a big difference when I see them go off the stage. They're like, thank you. They're like, oh my God, thank you. Just that much. Because once again, it's your story. It's your stage. It's your character. It's all what you put into it. And then on Monday morning, back to reality. Reality is I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, I'm a sister, I'm a wife, I'm a caregiver for my mother-in-law. I work at a nursing home for her. So that is my reality. So that's who I am, and that's my daily routine, Monday through Thursday, and then Friday. Tell me what city, state, or what birthday party to be at, I'm there. Sometimes I get the crowns mixed up. I'll be like, oh, that's a pageant crown and not the princess crown. But and I do mix in the two. I've recently also had the opportunity to bring my special Bayou Princess off to a recent national pageant I just did last month. And it was Disney princess theme, which was Tiana. So that was fun. I competed, you know, and I kind of slipped away, and I offered to do this elaborate thing of being Tiana there, and kids loved it, and I slipped back away, slipped back into who I was. Some of the kids, they were like, "You missed Tiana." I said, "I did?" And then some of them kept looking, going, "Wait a minute." But you know what? Once again, I enjoyed myself. I had fun. I didn't care if I win or lose. I enjoyed what they were doing, and it was my life. It's Tiana. It was my life up there. So I figured, let's have some fun. Let's mix the two together.
I absolutely love that.
Thank you.
So let's keep our followers posted. How can they find you, and how can they support you throughout the rest of this journey?
So mostly you can find me through the business, which is Sugar and Spice Fairy Tales, and Instagram. But I do have an Instagram. Bear with me. I think it's Mrs. QT Pie. I was young when I had started my Instagram, but yes, it's Mrs. _QQ_T and then PII. But that's where you'll see all the pageantry. Like, I literally changed that over, and I put up all my pageantry stuff and like the coaching and everything right there. That's how you can keep up with me. And then basically, when you want to keep up through my fairy tale life, it's Sugar and Spice Fairy Tales, because that's what mostly you'll see is me promoting my company and promoting my family. I call them my family. They're not employees, they're my family. And I'm always happy to put their platforms up and show people, like, look at this. This is who we are. Yes, we dress up, but look at these people. They're making your child, your grandchild so happy. And I am working behind the doors, you know, getting everything set up, and then I'm running off to a pageant. And I'm like calling, and I'm getting phone calls, booking. I have done bookings in between going on the stage and coming off the stage, going, okay, booked, and then go right back on the stage for my routine. But that's who I am, and I love it. I wouldn't change a thing about this journey, not one thing.
Well, we really thank you for coming out today, and we'll keep our pageant family abreast to your next pageant in August. And thank you again so much, Sean, for coming out.
Thank you.